You wait ages for an exciting everyday carry flashlight to come along, and then two come along at once. And these are really good. We have here the EDC27 from Nitecore and the X2 from Wuben, and as you can see they are both very different but both after the same everyday carry user. And I know it won't be easy, but I'm going to try and pick a winner here. Okay, let's start with the EDC27, and the first thing to mention here is the form factor. As you can see, this is not a standard flashlight tube. This has a much flatter profile at just over ½ an inch thick, and this slides easily into the pocket, and it has this raised area here specifically designed so you can push it into the pocket without switching it on at the same time. Now the pocket clip here is strong and long, and that makes it ideal for belt carry, and there's also a lanyard loop here if needed. The construction here is a very solid feeling stainless steel with a black tough PVD coating. It weighs in at 124 grams or 4.37 ounces, and it has these grip areas here alongside the body. It also has an OLED display, which I wish all flashlights had. And then we have a USB-C charging port here, and you can fully charge this light in just an hour and 15 minutes. And then we have these two push button switches at the back end of the light. And like a tail switch on a tactical flashlight, your thumb naturally finds these switches quickly and easily in the dark. And importantly, the two switches are very different in feel, allowing for easy differentiation. At the front end, we have these dual cool white LEDs with TIR lenses, and that's a combination of reflector and lens rather than a traditional dish reflector. And that enables the very small light output area we see with this design and creates more of a floodlight pattern rather than a beam. And that's ideal for an EDC light. Now, standard user replaceable batteries are not going to work with this shape. So we have fixed batteries in here. So when the battery fails, so does the flashlight. And for many, that will be a deal breaker, but for me, for EDC use, I'm prepared to accept it considering the benefit this shape brings to this light. Now, the capacity of that battery is 1700 milliamp hours, which is worth noting, but the run times are more relevant. And here is the output runtime chart, and you might want to pause the video to take it all in, but here are the important points for me. There's no multi-day runtime moonlight mode, and that might put some people off. In fact, the lowest light level is 15 lumens, and that will easily light your way in close confines without waking up everyone around you, and should last for 37 hours continuously, and that should get you out of most scrapes. Then we have a 65 lumen level, which I would refer to as a get me home light level, and that is the minimum light you might need to navigate outdoors if you get caught out at night, and that has a quoted runtime of 11 hours. Then we have a 200 lumen level, which I would call a working brightness level, which is good illumination for most jobs, and that should last 3 hours and 45 minutes. Then we have a bright 1000 lumen mode, which has a quoted 1 hour and 45 minute duration, but I would expect it would drop down before that as the heat builds. And then we have the very impressive maximum output or turbo, offering 3000 lumens for lighting up a wide area in relatively short bursts of around 15 seconds, as shown by the countdown on the display here, and that's to avoid overheating. As you can see, the OLED display here shows the light level and anticipated runtime, and I love having this on a flashlight. Imagine being out at night, you know how long it will take you to get back, and this will let you choose the maximum light level that should get you all the way home. And you can instantly see how much battery you've got left when you pick up the light, and that is also really useful. In terms of the way it works, this gives me everything I need. Let's start with the raised switch. Press to turn on the light at the last used light level, and then half press to cycle through the 4 light levels. It's that simple. And if you just need a bit of light without waking everyone up, just half press and hold and you have instant access to the lowest light level. Then we have this flatter switch. Again, very simple, just half press for instant turbo, irrespective of whether the light is on or off, or fully press to access a non-linear strobe. And I'm personally not too bothered about having a strobe, probably because I've never needed to fend off an attacker, but it's there if needed. In fact, I'd be interested to know in the comments if anyone has used the strobe on their flashlight in anger. So the great thing about this flashlight is that you can be walking along at your chosen light level based on the time to your destination and the indicated display time on here. And then you see something in the dark and you can instantly bring on turbo to light it up for a few seconds and then instantly drop down again to the original light level, all with a single press of one switch. Or if you like, you can press it a bit harder for strobe instead. And that's a great way of working in my book, instant full blast and then back to normal in a heartbeat. Also, there's a lockout mode with this flashlight, and that's vital if you want to avoid unwanted activation when it's in a pocket or a bag. Now, the maximum quoted range at 3000 lumens for this light is 220 meters, but do bear in mind that the calculation for range can be a bit misleading and the true practical range is more likely to be something around 55 meters. And if you want to know why that is, just come back to this link here. If we have a quick look at the outdoor beam shots, you can see here is the Get You Home 65 lumen level, and then this is the 200 lumen level, followed by the 1000 lumen level, and that white wall is 20 meters away. And then we have the 3000 lumen turbo, and that is pretty impressive. In terms of a waterproof rating, this has a relatively poor IP rating of 54, which is splash proof only, so it should be fine in the rain, but don't attempt to submerge this light.
Submerge the ship. Diving officer, submerge the ship. No!
And then as for the price, this is around £100 or $100. Also worth noting is that this was awarded the best EDC light at the recent SHOT Show 2023. So let's quickly look at the good, great design, great pocket clip, well made, the OLED screen, direct access to turbo, strobe and the low light level, good run times, very bright turbo, lockout mode, quick charging and easy to use. And in terms of the bad, that IP54 water resistance is not good, non-replaceable battery and no moonlight mode. Next up, we have the Wuben X2, and how does this compare? Well, Wuben have been around for a while, but recently they've been producing some really standout flashlights, and this is one of them. And as you can see, this is also a different design to our more traditional round tube style flashlight and feels super rugged and well made. We have here an aluminium body, and this version has a very nice white micro arc oxidization ceramic coating, and we are seeing this in more and more lights. It's super tough, feels great and looks fantastic and makes a welcome change from black. There is a lot of design detail in this light, which you might reason is for extra grip and perhaps cooling, and I do like it. This, I would say though, is less pocket friendly than the Nitecore, with lots of pointy edges at work here, but it does actually sit very nicely in the hand. We do have another great pocket clip here, substantial and functional, and this too also works fine on a belt. There's also a lanyard hole here if that is needed. The weight here is 115 grams or 4 ounces, so reasonably lightweight and also quite compact, as we can see by the dimensions here. We have a single switch here, which is easy to find due to the shape of the light, which means you can always be sure of which way is up. And underneath this switch, which is held in place magnetically, is the USB-C charging socket and an LED, which is used for battery level indication and charging status. Charging time is quoted as a rather pedestrian 3 hours. At the front here, we have a triple LED array with triple orange peel reflectors and a tough glass lens, and these multiple LEDs and shallow reflector create more of a floodlight than a beam. There are a couple of LED options with this light. One is an Osram, which is brighter and whiter, and the other is a Samsung offering more natural light with less power, and that's the one I've got here. Although my preference, I have to say, these days is for the brighter version. And with this light we also have batteries that are not replaceable, which as before will be a deal breaker for some.
No deal.
The capacity of the battery in here is 2000 milliamp hours, so slightly more than the Nitecore. Here is the output runtime chart. Again, pause the video here if you want to explore this in more detail. Although here are the key points from my perspective. Although we don't have a true moonlight mode, we do have a good low light level of 5 lumens, which is good enough to get around without disturbing others. And this has a quoted maximum runtime of 80 hours, which is pretty impressive. Then we have an 80 lumen medium level, which is good enough to get you home when outdoors and has a quoted runtime of 10 hours. And then we have a high light level of 400 lumens, which is a good working light level and has a quoted runtime of 2.5 hours. And then we have the turbo mode, which is 1800 lumens with this Samsung version, and 2,500 lumens with the Osram version, and this will drop down in power in around a minute to 800 lumens as the light heats up. Also, and this is pretty unique to Wuben, you can customize the light output for the different modes. So pick a mode and then choose your light level. It won't go below 5 lumens though for those wanting a true moonlight mode. The operation with this flashlight is also perfectly implemented and an improvement on the smaller Wuben X2. And if you want to see that one, I'll link to that video at the end of this one. So let's have a look at the operation. You press the switch once and it comes on at the previously used light level, and then you hold to cycle through low, medium and high modes. And I'm usually not a fan of a light automatically cycling through the different levels, but with just 3 light levels it's not really a problem, although it's not as quick as stepping through at your own pace. Press and hold from off to go straight to the lowest light level, perfect if you're trying to avoid disturbing those around you, and a double press from either on or off goes straight to turbo, and a double press again to go back to the previous light level, and that's ideal. A triple press is used for strobe, and another triple press goes to SOS mode. Again, I'd love to know in the comments if anyone has actually used SOS for real. So like the Nitecore, you have direct access to the lowest light level, turbo and strobe, and there's also a lockout mode. Just press 4 times and you get that to indicate that the light is now locked out. Again, really important to have this to avoid accidental activation in a pocket or a bag. Simply press 4 times again to unlock. The quoted range here is between 128 and 146 meters, depending on your LED of choice. And again, in the real world, the practical range is going to be more like 40 meters, which is fine for an EDC light. Okay, let's venture outside for some beam shots, starting with the 80 lumen level, that get you home level. And then we have the 400 lumen general light level, and as before, that white wall is 20 meters away. And then we'll switch to the turbo level at 1800 lumens, and this is the Samsung version. The Osram version will be whiter and brighter, offering 2,500 lumens. This light has an IP rating of 68, which is just what you would want. It means this light can be submerged.
Submerge the ship. Diving officer, submerge the ship.
And the Wuben comes with a couple of more unusual accessories. One is this red diffuser, which I don't find particularly useful, and the other is this lanyard neck strap, which is also, as it happens, a USB-A to C charger for this light. Now, it does feel a little bit like it came out of a promotional goodie bag, but actually could be quite useful. And finally, the price for this light is also around the £100 or dollar mark. So looking at the good we've got here, great design, a great pocket clip, it's well made. We've got direct access to turbo, strobe and the low light level, good run times, lockout mode, easy to use, customizable light levels and that IP68 rating.
Submerge the ship.
As for the bad, well, we've got that non-replaceable battery, no moonlight mode and slow charging. So in conclusion, both are great lights and you won't be disappointed with either. Both have a simple and sensible operation with direct access to turbo and then back again to normal operation. Both have direct access to strobe and a low light level. Both are well made and have good run times, and in my view both look very cool. But bear in mind both also have that non-replaceable battery. The Wuben seems most robust and is fully waterproof and has customizable light levels. The Nitecore is better in the pocket, has that excellent screen, charges more quickly and is the brightest. And if I was to pick one, my winner out of these two would be the Nitecore, but you can't really go wrong here with either of these. And if these are a bit on the large size for your everyday carry, and I personally do see these as a bit more every night carry, then you might want to check out this video here on some smaller alternatives. So that's it for this video. Thank you as always for watching, and I hope you can join me in the next one.